I am Bridget Lake, president of the Oviedo Winter Springs Regional Chamber of Commerce, and we are here with Ben Paris, running for County Commission District 3, serving Seminole County. Our premier virtual Eastside Regional Hob Nob is presented by Lucas Land Group, an Oviedo-based family-run business with interests throughout Central Florida. Our sponsors, Duke Energy and UCF, our radio sponsor, News 96.5 WDBO, and our website sponsor, Palm Tree Tech Center. Now, before we get into our conversation, let's hear a quick message from our sponsors, Duke Energy and UCF.
I know what I want from my energy company. I want to know that my power is always on and that my family's energy is cleaner and safer. That's why, as a Duke Energy lineman, I'm working hard to make that possible. I absolutely feel honored to make a difference in our community. It's a good feeling knowing that I'm helping to build a smarter, reliable energy future for all of us, for my family and yours.
Remote instruction has helped me out.
It's been great because the professor is very communicative still. I can email professor and get an email back in literally 20 minutes. We still have class, we still have to participate. It's not hard, it's just we have to do it a different way.
And I just think we've all done a really good job of adapting to these changes that have happened in a short period of time.
And I'm definitely still learning as much as I would in class.
And now we are back with Ben Paris, running for County Commission District 3, serving Seminole County. Ben, how are you doing today?
I am doing great, Bridget. Thank you so much for letting me be on here and do this with you. I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, thank you for joining us. And before we get into some questions, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right. Well, thank you very much for the introduction. My name is Ben Paris. I'm currently a commissioner here in the city of Longwood. I've been serving for about 6 years. I've been married to my wife, Morgan, for 4. And, we're really enjoying the Central Florida area and getting to know everybody. And a little bit about myself. How did I get here? 13 years ago, actually, I was changing garbage cans, believe it or not, for the city of Longwood at night. Changing out garbage cans. I was a night custodian and didn't have a degree. We just kind of didn't really know what I want to do with my life. But I fell in love with the city of Longwood. I fell in love with kind of being involved in my community. And 13 years later, I was a 2-term mayor. I've been serving for 6 years. And I have a degree and I own a home in the city of Longwood. So it's been a good run. And I truly believe that's what makes Central Florida so great, is if you want to live the American dream, you can do it right here.
Wow, that really is. So how long have you've lived in Longwood, and now tell us a little bit about your family. You were talking about Morgan. Tell us about your family.
Yeah, so I'm actually originally from California. I'm the oldest of 6 children. My mom and my dad are still here. They live in Altamont Springs, actually. I'm hoping to move closer to them. And, just being the oldest of 6, you're kind of raising your little brothers and sisters, and everybody's working. So I kind of had that feeling of always being around little ones and family, and that's really an important aspect of my life. So when we moved out here to Florida, it was a very different change of pace from going from busy California to moving to Central Florida. And it really showed me that community is far more important than big cities. And I just fell in love with the area. I bought my first home in the city of Longwood when I was 21 years old, and I've been there ever since. So I've never lived anywhere outside of Seminole County since I've been in Florida. And it's a great area to live, and there's a reason why I've stayed here.
What do you love the most about Seminole County?
What I love the most about Seminole County is it's so well-rounded for everything you need. I mean, we have high tech corridors here. We have plenty of jobs. We have some of the very best schools, and you can get anywhere you want. You're not stuck in like busy Orange County where it's, crazy congested traffic, and you're not necessarily on the coast where you're tempted to go to the beach and golf all day, but you're close enough to both. You can really enjoy it while at the same time enjoying the natural areas, the Wekiva Springs, Prairie Lake, and just enjoy all the natural areas you can wander around here. You can't beat it. It's a little bit of everything for everybody is right here in Seminole County.
Now, I've heard that you hold a black belt, and you also have an instructor title. Tell us a little bit about martial arts and how you got into it.
Well, I as you probably can tell, my dad said I could do anything I wanted when I grow up. I tried out for the basketball team and realized he was lying from day one. So, it was one of those things where it was a sport where you could get involved with it, and it could teach a lot of disciplines that were really important to me, which was focus, staying in physical shape, self-defense, and structure, how to learn and obey, orders and commands from people that you may not understand why, but you need to understand to enjoy this authority and obey this authority. And when you're a young man, that's an important structure. So I started when I was 16, and I just fell in love with it and kept doing it all the way through into my 20s. And then for 2 years, I had the pleasure of actually running my own school in Oviedo, of all places. Life Martial Arts right there off Mitchell Hammock. I ran that martial arts school for 2 years, and it was a great experience. Got to work with a lot of great children and adults and pass on some of that knowledge. So, a lot of times people think of martial arts as either MMA fighting, which is really, really violent, or like babysitting little kids. And I like to think of it a little bit more. It's a life discipline. It teaches a lot of important things. And there's a very, very important saying we use in martial arts, and that is perfection is a road, not a destination. So every day you should be striving to be better and better and improve yourself, knowing you're never going to be perfect, but that's okay. It's not to be perfect. It is to always strive to be perfect.
Now, when you're talking about discipline, that kind of reminds me of the military, and you said that really helped when, growing up and having that discipline and learning that. Let me ask you, did you enjoy teaching kids or adults more, or teenagers?
Actually, the teenagers are where it was at. It was really, really fun getting a chance to work with, especially the high school students I was able to have the pleasure of teaching, and the late middle school students, because you could really see them as that transition from childhood to adulthood. And you can start seeing them really grabbing on and understand the aspects of martial arts, not just the martial area of it, not just the art area, but the kind of the blending of the two, and be able to talk about the philosophy of martial arts. And it was just a really, really great experience.
Now, you have several roles. I know that Commissioner in Longwood. You currently work at the Seminole Chamber of Commerce.
I do.
And you also have a podcast, I believe.
Yes, I do. You've done your
So
homework.
tell us a little bit about each of those roles, if you could. Let's start with the Commissioner of Longwood. Tell us a little bit about that.
Commissioner Longwood has been a great experience. I've been doing it for 6 years. And I was one of the big fighters for term limits here in the city of Longwood. And so I always said I would never serve more than 8 years, which I'm getting out before that 8 years is up. But, when you're working in a small government like this, a lot of people think it's very political in the sense of Republican, Democrat. It's really not. There's a reason why these are non-party races, because when you get down to this level, it's about just good governance and, balancing a budget, making sure the water's on time, make sure the police and fire trucks show up when they need to. And really the best kind of commissioners, in my opinion, are ones that get the best staff around them, surround themselves with subject matter experts, and listen to them. And all I can tell you right now is my job in Longwood's been incredibly easy these past couple of years because of the tremendous staff we have that make my life much easier. So, not all cities have that kind of blessing that we have here, but we have great staff, very low turnover, and a lot of loyalty within the city. And that's very, very important to have.
And we will move on to the Seminole Chamber position. How long have you been there?
I've been there for about 1.5 years. I started early February of 2019. So we're coming up on the 1.5 year mark. And it has been really, really great. I don't know if there's any better job someone like myself can have than interacting with the business community and being out there and working with people on their day-to-day issues. And especially with COVID-19 coming, I felt it was much nicer to be able to have that hands-on kind of ability. We worked from home outside the office for a while, and I took that opportunity to go meet with a lot of the business owners that had time to meet with me and talked about their concerns, what was going on. So it's been very rewarding. As you can probably agree and attest to, there's no much more fun than going to ribbon cuttings and seeing brand new businesses started and brand new entrepreneurs getting out there. Just as much fun as just seeing the 20-year business owner doing a TED talk on how to run a successful business, and kind of be able to see both ends of that. And there's nothing quite like it. And it is very rewarding, especially in Seminole County, which is, I would argue to say is one of the best business hubs in Central Florida. Lots and lots of big businesses come to Central Florida because of our workforce and how nice it is to work here. And I would hope to continue to do that.
I can't debate that one. So let's move on to your podcast. Tell us a little bit about your podcast.
So the podcast is The Hijack. It's on the N.FM. And, ironically, I was brought on as a guest, I think going on 3 years ago. The podcast has been around for about 8 years, I believe, 8 or 9 years. It's been around for quite some time. They brought me in as a guest to talk about politics and one of the races. I think it might have been the 2016 races. And they brought me on once. I kind of explained some things. They brought me on again, asked if I could come back in again. I said, sure. And then with all the amendments coming through, they asked if I could come back and explain some amendments. And I just never really left. So now I'm on, it's going on, I guess, a couple of years now. And I'm a regular, they call me the third mic. So I'm the third mic guy. So you have the two main casts. And I more give color commentary, and I kind of discuss the politics of things going on locally, nationally, and globally.
That sounds interesting.
It's a lot of fun.
So let me ask you, being the commissioner of Longwood, how do you see what you've learned through that experience and you running for the County Commission District 3?
Like what have I learned that can transfer over?
Yes.
Yeah, well, you know, a lot of things. What I've noticed is government, especially when you go county and city. It's a law of scale. It gets bigger, and you have a lot more responsibility. But the basic tenets are the same. You want to keep the taxes low. People need to have their own money to spend. They need to feel secure. You need to make the jobs last longer and go longer. The paychecks last longer, people feel better. We really worked hard in Longwood, because when I first took office in 2014, we were not doing very well in property value. We're not one of the fastest growing cities that we are now. And what we really did was focus on infrastructure, and we focused on removing red tape, allowing people to get easier permits. You know, we encouraged reinvestment in their own properties. We cut the building permit fees in the city of Longwood by 50%. And that may sound like, well, what did that do? Well, nothing immediately, but it allowed people to reinvest in their own property. And that increased property value. And when property value goes up, taxable value goes up. And that is the easiest way to increase the revenue to the city, is by increasing everybody. So all ships rise with the tide, and that's what we did in Longwood. So my intention is to do the same thing with the county, is use common sense governance. Nothing, you know, we're not reinventing the wheel. Let's reinvest in our community, reinvest in our infrastructure, keep the taxes low, remove the red tape, and cut some of these permitting fees in half, so people can start reinvesting their own money in their community, not just government money. And let's work with the other cities within the county. As a city mayor and a city commissioner, I'm sure you've heard it from multiple people. It's not always easy working with all the other cities and the county. And you really need to look to the county for leadership with that and guidance. And I would like to be that leadership and guidance from the county to help unite these cities to make this a better place.
Well, thank you. Let me go back to a personal note here. California, have you gone back there recently? Do you have family there?
I have lots of family out there. I haven't been out very recently. In fact, I was planning on going in this March, but as you can see, that didn't happen thanks to COVID. I do go out there and try to visit family whenever I can. I have my grandmother, I believe she just turned 99 out in California. So we have some family out there. We have some history. So I'm trying to get back out to the West Coast. I love to visit there. I would never want to live there again.
All right. Well, before we wrap this up, is there anything else that you would like to add?
You know, actually, I would just like to say thank you very much for this opportunity. And if you don't mind, I would love to be able to give my cell phone number out to anybody that downloads this, because, you know, there might be more questions they have that they would like to ask me. And I give people my cell phone. It's my personal cell phone. It's on all my information. And you can call or text anytime, and I'll answer the question. So my cell phone number is 321-239-3361. Again, that number is 321-239-3361. Bridget, back to you.
Thank you. And that is Ben Paris, running for County Commission District 3, serving Seminole County. He's one of our candidates at the East Side Regional Hob Nob. Our virtual East Side Regional Hob Nob is taking place on June 30th, starting at 5:30. So make sure to register for that. And make sure to check out esrhobnob.com for one-on-one interviews and so much more about our candidates. Thank you so much. And thank you, Ben, for taking the time out today.
My pleasure.
Thank you, everyone.